Hello everybody, Jamie the Board Game Man, and today we are going really vintage, back to the year 1968. It's one of those wonderful 3M bookshelf games. It is a 2 to 6 player game. It is called Bazaar, the trading game. In this game, all you're doing is you either roll the die and pick out one of the colored chips that you need, or you're trading your chips for other colors so you can buy the wares. And depending on the scoring, is based on how many chips you have in your hand at the time you purchase the ware. Really fascinating, and whether that ware has a star or not. So all sorts of different things going on in this game, and I can't wait to show you how to play Bazaar, the trading game. All right, here we are at the gaming table with Bazaar, the trading game. And of course, it says on the spine, the unique new trading game. All right, let's check it out. All right, so here are your components of the game. You have the Bazaar right here. This is actually the Bazaar right here. Comes with these little chips. You also have a special die. You also have 10 rate cards. And then you also have the ware cards. And of course, the instructions are inside the lid, which is always a good thing to see. That way those paper instructions don't get lost. All right, so let's go ahead and show you the setup, and then I'll go ahead and show you how to play the game. First and foremost, let's go ahead and get the die out of the way here, is you're going to take these 10 rate cards. There's 10 different rate cards, and you're only going to choose 2 of them to play the entire game. So let's just say we'll choose this one, and we'll just choose these top 2 like so, and the rest would go back in the box. All right. Then, we're going to go ahead and take these ware cards. You're going to go ahead and shuffle them. And what you're going to do is you're going to have 5 stacks of 5 in each one of these stations here. You have 4 different ones. You're going to place 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're going to put 5 of these in each one of these areas here. 5 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, there we go. All right. So just like so, and then the rest of them will go in the box. And that's pretty much the setup. That is all the setup is. Now the object of the game is you're trying to score the most points, and I'll go over the scoring in this game, which is very unique as well, which I really, really like. And I'll show you how you get these chips and how you either roll for the chips or you can trade for chips. Really, really cool. So first and foremost, I'll be the first player. I don't have any chips, so I have to roll the die. Now you can see on the die, it has one of each color on here. All 5 colors are on there, and choice. Obviously choice, you can choose any color you want. So we're going to go ahead and roll the die. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start off with green. So what I would do is I would take 1 green chip and put it in front of me. And then that would be my turn. Then the next player would go ahead and roll a blue. So then he would grab a blue. Now this is when, because everyone's going to roll once, obviously, you need something to work with. Now I'm going to go ahead and go over these rate cards. These are what you can trade for, and these are intermixed. So say I have this green token here. If I wanted to do so, I could trade this green token for white, red, yellow, blue. All right, I can do that, which is really cool. Now if I had a white, red, yellow, and blue in front of me, I could trade those 4 in for a green. These are interchangeable. All right. Now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to purchase these ware cards over here. Now you can see all 5 colors are represented in these cards, especially this one. Actually, this has all 5 of them. I didn't even realize that. So if I had 1 of each, I could actually purchase that ware card, and that would go into my points. Now, if I want to just roll again and just try to go for another color, I can do that, or I can go ahead and try to trade and get one of these. Well, I think I'm going to try to go for this card right here since, well, shoot, if I trade this in, I'm going to have 4 out of the 5. So in this turn, instead of rolling the die, I'm going to go ahead and trade this in. I'm going to go ahead and take a white, a red, a yellow, and a blue. So now I have these 4 colors right here in front of me. Now that would be my turn. Okay? Now this player, what he can do with this blue is he can actually turn it in for a red, green, and yellow if he really wanted to. Or he has this here, he can turn it into white, white, green, and yellow. Well, he's going to look and say, you know what, let's make it a race. Let's go ahead, I'm going to try to get that one too. So you go ahead and go and turn this blue one in for these 3 colors. He's going to go ahead and turn that in and go red, green, and yellow. So now he holds on to these 3 chips here. Now, since I'm trying to go for all 5, I'm going to hope I either roll a white or a, I'm sorry, what am I missing here? Green or a choice. That way I can choose whatever color I want. Let's just say, I put choice. Let's say I go ahead and roll choice. Obviously, I would choose the green. Now, what would happen is when I purchase this ware, I'm going to go ahead and turn all these in, because it takes all these chips to turn in and get that ware card. Now, this is what I'm going to show you how the points go. So I'm going to go ahead and turn all these in. And now I purchase this ware card. Now, this is how the scoring works. This goes in front of me here. And this is when you score it immediately. All right. Hopefully this will be not too blurry here. You'll see right here, that is your scoring right there. And I don't know if you can see that or not. You might be able to see that. The scoring determines how many tokens you have in front of you after you purchase this ware. So for instance, in this case, I grab one here. There's no stars on it. And they have it set up where there's no stars, 1 star, and 2 stars. Okay. The tokens remaining, I have no tokens remaining. So I would look at the graph here. There's 0 tokens. I would actually get 5 points. You can see that right there. I hope you can see that. Number of tokens is 0. I get 5 points because I have no tokens remaining. Now, if I had 3 or more tokens remaining, like you see here, I would go over here and I would get 1 point. If I had 2 tokens sitting in front of me, I'd have 2, and 1 token, I'd have 3. Since I have no tokens, since I spent all of them, I get a whopping 5 points, which is actually pretty good in this game. Okay, so just like that, I would get a pen and paper, and I would write down, Jamie, I got 5 points. All right, and that's it for that. Obviously, this is now the new ware card for that, and now this player's got to go ahead and say, okay, now what do I want to do now? He can either roll for another chip, or he can go ahead and try to trade some of these chips in. He might want to do this. He sees we have 3 whites and 2 reds. He says 2 whites and a red here for a yellow. He figured, why not? I'm going to go ahead and go for that. He's going to trade that yellow, and he's going to get 2 whites and a red. And go ahead and place that right in front of him. He's almost got it. You can see he's got 2 reds and 2 whites. All he needs is 1 more white, and he's got it. Now, this player over here doesn't have anything, so obviously I would have to roll the die. I get a yellow and so on. That would end my turn, and so on. Now, let's go ahead and go over these ware cards that have a star on them. Here's one. Ooh, man, that's a tough one. All the ones that have a star on it are a little tougher combinations to get. They're a little tougher to get. What happens on this is you're going to look at the chart. If you end up getting this, all right, you're going to do the same thing. See, it has a 1 star here. It depends on how many tokens you have remaining and how many points you would get, depending on how many tokens you have left. All right, that's how that works. Now, the end of the game, or the triggers the end of the game, is when 2 of these stacks are gone. All right, once a second stack is completely gone, that's when the game ends. You look at all the points and you go from there. Now, let's just say we finished off the first stack. These are all, these went to different players here and so on. Okay, one of the stacks are now gone. You see a star here. So from here on out, for the rest of the game, until one of these second stacks are gone, we are going to add 1 star to these cards. So now every time I would purchase one of these, say I had, for instance here, okay, I went ahead and bought this. I got it and like, hey, I'm ready to go. You're going to add a star to that card. Now this has no stars on it, so now it's worth 1 star. So I would go ahead and purchase this. 3 whites, 2 reds, okay, put that in there. I would get this, all right. I would look at this. Now this it counts as a 1 star because this is an automatic star here. I have 1 token remaining. So I'm going to look at the 1 star, 1 token remaining. I would get 5 points for that card. If there's a star already on it, yes, you guessed right, then that's how you get the 2 stars, because none of these cards have 2 stars on them. That's when the 2 stars come into play, is when one of these stacks is gone, this counts as a star. So all the ones that don't have any stars count as 1 star, and this one would count as 2 stars. So say I had 5 reds in my possession, I go ahead and count all those 5 in there. I would have 1 chip remaining. What I would do is I would look under 1 chip remaining, 2 stars, I would get 8 points for that 1 card. So you can see the scoring really starts to ramp up once one of these is gone. Then all of a sudden, everything's at least 1 star. And it really comes down to how many tokens you have in your hand. Determines how many points you get. And that's pretty much the game. You're going to keep on playing. These two stay in the game the entire time. And once you go through a second stack, the game ends. Then you're going to go ahead and look at all of your points totals, and that would give you the winner of the game. Now, one rule that I don't want to forget to tell you is as you're playing this game, you're going to probably, at one time or another, you're going to start accumulating some tokens here. Okay? The most you can have in your hand is 10. And now that's at the end of your turn. Let's just say you were able to trade something and you got maybe 11 of these. Okay, you have 11, and then you purchase a ware. That's okay. But as long as at the end of your turn you are at 10 or under, you're okay. Now, let's just say I end up with 11. I bought a card and I still have 11 over here. Let's see if I have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have 11 over here, and I got caught. What happens is the person on my left gets to take any one of these chips that I have in front of me, any one of these 11, and put them back into the exchange. This is called the exchange. So they can choose whatever I want. They go, okay, that goes back in the exchange. And I would lose it, and then I would go back to my 10 that I have in my hand. And that's only at the end of your hand. You can be in the middle of your hand, maybe have 12 or 13 at one point, but then you buy a ware, you're good. But if you're at the end of your turn, you have more than 10, then that person on the left gets to take any amount. Now, say if I had 12, they can take 2 of them. I'm going to take a red and green. I'm going to put it in the exchange. That player doesn't get to keep them. They put them in the exchange. Okay? And that's pretty much the game. That's it. Until 2 of these go under, and then you count up all your points, which should already be calculated already, and the person with the most points wins. Now, if there is a tiebreaker, then you would look at how many ware cards each person has, and whoever has the least amount of ware cards would win. If there's still a tie after all that, then you share the victory. And that, my friends, is Bazaar. So let's head on over to the game room, and I'll give you my final thoughts. All right, so my final thoughts on Bazaar. I love this game. I think this is great. I know that they've had some newer versions come out, but there's nothing like this version here. I do like the way this version looks. I like the way how simple it is, but then again, there's a lot going on in the game, and that's what I love about these 3M bookshelf games. It seems like that's pretty much with all of them. It's pretty, you know, for the most part, it's pretty simple to learn. But man, I tell you, there's a lot going on in your brain in these games. And I think that's why these games have lasted the test of time and are still around, and everyone still enjoys playing these 3M games. Just the way they look really nice. And I tell you, now this game I love because of all the different things that are going on in this game, where you're either rolling the die and picking a chip at the very beginning of the game. You might be doing that a couple times. And then you start trading, you start looking at all the different ware cards, and you're looking to see, okay, I want to try to get that one. I need this, this, and this. Okay, I'm going to try to roll this. Or maybe I can trade for this. There's a lot going on. And I like that it's interchangeable, where you can go, okay, I can trade a white for a green, red, but then you can trade a red, green for a white. So you can go either way, depending on what color you want. But then again, you don't want a lot of chips in your hand either. Because when you buy a ware, it depends on how many chips you have in your hand. And that's the part that's really fascinating too, is you score along as you go, and for each ware you get, that's when you're going to look and you go, okay, I have 3 chips in my hand. Now, if you have no chips, like you purchased all of your chips with all of your chips for that one ware, you get the most points because you had 0 chips in your hand. But then you got to restart again. So I tell you, it's great. And I like that when one of the columns is done, when that star shows up, then all the other cards from here on out are worth 1 star, and if it has 1 star, it's 2 stars. So that's when the game really ramps up, is when one of those columns have been taken out. Then the points really start shooting up, because now all of a sudden you're getting 1 star and even 2 stars on some of those cards, and of course, depending on how many chips you have in your hand. What a great little concept, man. I love this game. I think it's a great game. And I've seen the newer versions of it, and it seems like, okay, they got some newer versions, and it just, you know, they might look kind of cool, but I like this original version here. Well, I don't know if it's original, but probably it's pretty close to original. I know this game's been around a long time, but I really like this version a lot because it's simple, and I love it. I love it. I'm going to go ahead and definitely give this, if you don't already know, thumbs up on this game. And thank you so much for watching. That's my review of Bazaar. Let me know if you have the game, or maybe you don't have the game and you're thinking about getting the game since I showed you the game. That's what I'm hoping I did. And until next time, everybody, happy gaming.